Ron Meyers now joined by Ron Prady, the head coach of the Greater Latrobe Wildcats, as they enter the Class 5A postseason. The Wildcats with a 5-5 overall market and as a wild card team. And Ron, first off, I would imagine after the loss against Penn Trafford on Friday, you probably weren't quite sure if you're going to be in the postseason or not. So, what was that like after that narrow loss against PT, 20-13, having to wait about 12 hours or so before you found out your postseason fate?
Yeah, well, we figured it came down to Moon and South Fayette getting in, and then it would we didn't think anybody from the north would get in, and then I guess it came down to us and Kiski and Gateway, and we were fortunate that the committee felt we were worthy and picked us, but we were unsure until the brackets actually came out.
So the loss against Penn Trafford, the fact that you were very competitive, a game that came down to the wire, probably helped your cause. In that 20-13 setback, what did you like from your team's performance, and where did you see areas that you need to get better?
Well, there's always areas we need to get better, but I thought, we played fairly well defensively overall. The second half, they obviously dominated the time of possession, and we only had two short possessions in the whole second half. But the big thing was they scored 20 points, and one of them was a pick six. So defensively, we thought we, played pretty well. There were times we moved the ball on offense, and one time we didn't capitalize in the red zone. So we've got to be better in that area. And our tackling, the 34 for PT is pretty good running back, and we would have liked to cut down on the yards after contact, but he has a lot to do with that. So I did like these last couple of weeks, though, is our kids, their fight, knowing that our backs were against the wall at Gateway, played a great second half to pull that out, and played another really good team this Friday. And it was a physical battle, but we were right in it till the end.
When you talk about your defensive effort, Andy Tash had a pick six for your squad, and then he also could have had another interception, and he had a real heads-up play to bat the ball down on fourth down to actually save you some yardage. What has stood out about his play recently?
Well, I think his tackling has improved tremendously from last year to this year. Andy's has pretty good instincts back there at safety, and coupled with his ball skills back there are also pretty good. So we've seen a ton of improvement the whole year out of Andy. On that pick six, he runs better again this year than he has in the past too. So Andy's just a hardworking kid that wants to get better every day and every week. And we expect that same kind of improvement out of him going into next year.
With the success that your team had, especially in the playoffs the last couple of years, it was a pretty high bar, even though you were moving up to Class 5A this year. And early on in the season, your team was having great success. Obviously, a pretty significant injury changed the trajectory a little bit with Alex Tash going out. But would you have felt like this would have been a major disappointment if your team did not get in the postseason this year?
I don't know about major disappointment. I mean, I don't know that we made it a goal to make the playoffs. We're in now. We're going to try to win and extend our season as long as we can. You mentioned it. In most high school teams, you take their best player off the field, and they look quite different. And we're in the same boat. So we don't sit around thinking about what it could have been if we had Alex, but I do feel like some things would have been a lot different offensively and defensively and as a whole team. But we've got the guys we got now, and we're going to go play Friday and again, playing a really good Bethel Park team.
Yeah, they are the number 5 seed, but their 2 losses were very narrow. They were awfully close to actually being undefeated and maybe being, the 1 or 2 seed in this bracket. So it's not going to be an easy challenge against the Blackhawks. What do they do so well?
Everything. They extremely talented. They're big and tough and physical up front. The quarterback is probably as good as any in the WPIAL. Big, tall kid that throws it around. But he moves around well back there. For a 6'4" kid, he eludes the rush and extends plays pretty well too. The running back is explosive and tremendous football player. And number one, they just got back a few weeks ago. He's an explosive kid that we certainly don't want to kick the ball to him. We want to try to keep the ball out of his hands as much as we can. But they're just a great football team.
I know, obviously, when you go against a team like this, they're going to be favored, but your team has some postseason experience and postseason success over the last couple of years. And you went against Aliquippa and nearly pulled off a stunner in that one last year. So how much can you lean upon the past experience the last couple of years of getting those postseason wins when it comes to playoffs this year?
We're going to stress that it depends on our preparation this week. And usually when we have a good week of preparation, we'll go out and perform well. So, our guys have been in this spot, like you said, and I don't think they'll be, it'll be too big for them. I do know that we'll come Friday and our kids will be prepared and they'll play extremely hard. And we're going to have to get some breaks and some things are going to have to go our way to be in a game with Bethel Park.
Lastly, I know that it's a big deal to make the postseason for Greater Latrobe, to now do so 3 consecutive years. And as we mentioned, moving up from 4A to 5A, which is so difficult to get back there. How has the community embraced this team?
I think our community's always been great to us since I've gotten here. And somebody told me, Mike Premka, that this is the first time in the history that Latrobe's qualified 3 years in a row. So that's an accomplishment, but we don't want to just make the playoffs, as you saw the last couple of years. We want to try to get a win or two and extend this season as long as we can. So our kids are excited and like I said, I think we'll go down there and play hard, and then we'll see what happens.
Well, hopefully that yields some postseason success. Ron, thanks so much for taking the time. As always, I appreciate it. And congrats on getting into the playoffs and hopefully beyond.
Thank you, Sean.
That is Ron Prady, the head coach of Greater Latrobe.